Hello, and welcome back to plantcare.club, where we care about your plants. My name's Fred.
My name's Maddie.
And on this show, we do three things. Number one, we'll talk about your plants. Number two, we will do product reviews, talk about new plants, new products coming to the market. And number three, we answer your questions. So if you have any questions, go to plantcare.club, fill out the little form there. You can add pictures, and we'll get back to you either on the show or we'll reply to you over email. So, okay, Maddie, who are we? What do we do?
Yeah, we are brother and sister. We grew up on a greenhouse farm, and we have outdoor and indoor plants, and we also have tropical plants. And the idea of this show is basically to take what we know, mostly what Fred knows, because I don't work in the greenhouse as much as I used to, and apply it to your home. So how you can use this in your home and make it more in layman's terms so that it's understandable for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the co-owner of a greenhouse in Ontario and a nursery in Florida. Mm-hmm. So the goal is to take the information that we have from growing crops in both places and explain how you can apply that to your own home.
Yeah.
So we've done, you can look back, there's tons of different episodes in the past if you're interested. But today we're going to talk about how houseplants can improve your home. Now we're getting close to the end of our houseplant segment
era.
It's so for 6 months the idea is okay, once you get into the fall, you start to look more at houseplant stuff, and then now as we're moving closer to the spring, we're going to start to look more towards annuals. So that is the goal. But we are still in the houseplant era. Right?
Yes.
The houseplant era. So today we're going to talk about how houseplants improve your home. What are the different ways? Some of these are going to be a little bit more basic, and if you've had houseplants for a long time, you're going to know. But it's great to review this and get back to basics once in a while.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a pretty flower in your house?
A pretty flower, yeah, or foliage inside, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, we have color. Easy, style, personality, any type of plant like that. Maddie, I have a question for you. I've never asked you this, but have you ever judged someone based on the plants they have in their house? If you go in and they have a certain type of plant, or if they have no plants, or if they have all really dead plants, is that a spot to judge someone?
I shouldn't say judging them, but if you have really dead plants in your house, definitely would be first of all, why are you keeping this? Second of all, did you buy this for yourself, or was this a gift and you didn't want to have this plant? That kind of idea. But I do think it's nice to see plants in a home, because it makes your home look more elevated. With a simple ficus tree in the corner, instantly your home looks more elevated. And if you go to most house showings, or if you watch shows Selling Sunsets, they'll always have tropicals in their house, and they'll have the big ones. But it is a plant that we can all get, but it does make the house look a lot more elegant. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Having some kind of plant in the house is definitely necessary. I think that's pretty necessary.
Yeah.
But you even see people in dorm rooms. There's a really big push for houseplants right in August, through August, as people are going back to their dorms and they're looking to fill up that space. So yeah, that's a very common thing. I'm thinking if you went into somebody's house and they had it's October and they have last year's poinsettia still there.
Yeah.
And it's on its last legs, and you're thinking, wow, you're so close. Just wait another month, you'll be able to get a new one, but yeah, that's where it's you are, from that I would take you're dedicated, you're not going to give up, you are persistent, you stayed with that thing all the way, and you're motherly in a way too, you'll take care of it, you'll care for it all the way through the summer. So I don't know.
Yeah, you almost feel bad and think I'm just gonna get them a new poinsettia this year, just because you feel bad that they're still keeping the last.
Oh
yeah. So, it could look nicer.
It would be green. It'll bloom in February. It's slightly missed.
Yeah.
Okay, no. So color, style, personality.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Filling spaces too. So if you've got corners of the house, corners of a room, if there's a small spots where it sort of needs something, we have a ton of plants that are on the tops of shelves.
Yeah.
I notice Monica puts a lot of plants up there. Or I'm also thinking pothos. If you go to like a diner, it's classic to have pothos on the counter that like, oh, they used like a Hawaiian pothos and then it started to grow. They got a little 4 inch and now it's really, really long all the way down the
Yeah. Or goes around up on the wall.
yes, that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Like, I think that that's a
exactly.
common thing too. So
Yeah.
it fills space, it adds a little bit of personality there. Yeah.
I definitely think it adds personality. It can be a little bit vibey when you walk in. Think of a cafe. You walk in and there's like, let's say foliage hanging from the ceiling and stuff. It does feel like, oh, this
Hmm.
is a nice coffee shop. This feels like a
Yeah.
cozy. You want to sit down, you want
Hmm.
to enjoy it. Even walking to someone's home that's like that, it's like, oh, this is nice. So yeah, adds personality for sure. And fills
Absolutely.
those empty spaces.
Okay, next, if you are watching, I have ChatGPT pulled up because I was going to write down something here, and then I just said, you know what? I am not going to write this down and go through all of that hassle. I'm just going to say to ChatGPT, which house plants improve?
I know one of them.
Go for it.
Sansevieria. I've heard that, well, I've read that Sansevieria are really good for air quality in a home, so it's an easy one. Spider
Okay,
plants.
so the question was which houseplants improve air quality? So number one, spider plant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, absolutely classic. It says easy to care for, non-toxic to pets. Snake plants, peace lilies, spath, that's very common. Aloe vera, these are all, usually you'll find small aloe vera in smaller pots. Boston ferns, I've heard that a lot. Boston ferns and Sansevieria are really good at purifying and cleaning up the air.
Do you often keep Boston ferns indoors though?
Some people do,
Okay.
especially when you go a little bit further south. Like we are in Ontario, Canada, so that's not a very common thing.
Yeah.
But when you go further south, it is a bit more common
Okay.
that they will move them inside.
Yep.
The hard part with that is like, oh, you got to cut them back a bit, and you've got to like,
Yeah.
they might have a period where they don't look as nice, but they can still really purify the air.
Nice. Okay.
Mhm.
Benefit of this list that we were, oh, the rubber plant, yeah, is
English.
that these are pretty easy to get uncommon, um, tropical plants that you can get for your house too. So
Yeah, areca palm, bamboo palms, pothos. So English ivy, some awesome ideas there, and they they all will purify, clean out the air, take out some of those toxins, anything that's still like lingering around. They'll just suck it straight out.
yep, I've heard Sansevieria being like the natural air purifier because often people buy air purifiers for their rooms.
Hmm.
And instead, you can just get a Sansevieria.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Okay, last thing that we have here is something to take care of. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, like the idea of like a motherly thing, but people will gravitate to and take pride in taking care of something. Like that's not hard for me to believe because that's really a good portion of my job too
Yeah.
is to take care of these plants that exist in that are in the greenhouse, get an idea of what they want, make sure that you're moving them along and that you're thinking, okay, what does this plant want, what does that one want, how do we
Yep.
have to separate them, when do you need to move them together, do they have any bugs, all of that kind of stuff. Putting some effort into your plants is very common and becoming more and more common as well.
It's almost gamified too because in a way it's like, if your plant dies, of course that's sad, but it's like you're taking care of this thing and you're trying to figure out exactly what its wants and needs
Mm-hmm.
are. And it's like it's a game in a way where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, is it the fertilizer? Nope. Okay, now is it the EC? No. Okay, and then you keep like testing
Mm-hmm.
all these different things.
And like, I know that some people will have different spaces for it. Okay, is it going to do well in my home? If not, maybe in this room. If not, then maybe the garage. And you can move things around too. And oh, it doesn't want as much humidity. Maybe it needs the air to be a little bit drier. Like
Mhm.
that kind of a thing as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of little changes that you can do going back and forth. If you are in a hard spot, we've got tons of different stuff in the past.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw a show on pH was getting a little bit more traction too, which I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, EC testing. Even if you're just like basic, you're just like, okay, my plant's dying. We've got an episode on why your plants are dying, like those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the items that I have here. I'm gonna go for it.
I was just gonna add one more thing too for like the purpose part. This is a big thing you saw during COVID too, is that there people weren't buying as many things, but they were buying plants because there wasn't that human connection as much. So I was like, okay, I can take care of a plant and I bet you it was a bit of all these things that we've just listed where, it improved the air quality because some people couldn't leave their apartments, so it made you feel a little bit better.
Mhm.
It looked nice, so you felt a little bit nicer in your house. It was a nice little change, and then you got to take care of it, and it gave you that sense of purpose. Like, Cam, I have to take care of my plant.
And there was a level of like a collector's item,
Yeah,
right? Like people, Beanie Babies used to be that thing way back in the day, and
Yeah.
people were trying to collect these houseplants to create their perfect situation.
Yeah.
I'm sure that some people also made money on it too. Like
Oh,
if you
probably.
got a certain rare plant and then you propagated a little, if you could find a way to propagate it and you could sell that propagation for something, like that would be, you could make a little bit of money here and there on the side as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have any questions, head to plantcare.club and you can fill out the form, send in pictures. Also, if you are interested, we're still trying to get a good idea of what you're looking for the most. So sometimes, like, we're trying to watch the engagement and see, are people more gravitated to like the beginner items, or are they more interested in like the more in-depth, like soil pH?
Yeah.
So at this point, the show is relatively new, and we're interested in going whichever way you guys are looking.
Yeah.
So feedback is very welcome. Throw something in the comments, send us an email. We'd appreciate it anyway.
Yeah, find us on Instagram. You can let us know there. Anywhere where Plant Club or plantcare.club is, like, just send us a message and let us know what you're looking for. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed today.
Thank you.
Bye.